What up, guys? Welcome to Almost Functional. Back with Nick here to do another one of the index reveals. Rolling into the Dark Angels, something Nick played quite a lot of in ninth edition, so I know he's excited to see these rules. What do you think, Nick?
Hey, what's up, guys? We're gonna be going over the Dark Angels, Unforgiven Task Force detachment rules and data sheets here. Dark Angels Deathwing, what my favorite Imperial army. Um, I'm really more of a Chaos player, but definitely excited today to get these new rules and look at some of the strong stuff in here. Um,
Well,
so
technically, you're still a Chaos player.
yeah, yeah, that's what
Sorry,
everybody
that
tells
joke
me.
has to be made at least once a Dark Angel video.
Yeah, I mean between some of the stuff in here, I mean we just did Blood Angels. Blood Angels have they have Black Rage all over their army, and then Dark Angels have a ton of stuff where they benefit off getting Battle Shocked, which I don't know, go figure. I thought Battle Shock was a bad thing, but I guess when you play Dark Angels, it's okay.
Yep.
uh, so so basically their detachment here is called the Unforgiven Task Force. Uh, their benefit they're going to gain here for the detachment is called Grim Resolve. Um, Space Marine unit from your army is battle shocked. Change the OC characteristic of that model to 1 instead of 0. So really pretty good ability. Ignore you're ignoring a lot of well, not all of it. You're only ignoring one part of the uh, the bad part about being battle shocked. So you still can't use stratagems, and you still stink at falling back, but you'll still hold your objective. So pretty nice
Yeah,
overall.
and a lot of your units are OC1 to begin with, so unless it's a battle line unit, they really don't lose any OC at all most of the time.
Yeah. So this is definitely more of a defensive ability, but it makes it so if you play a lot of tough units such as Deathwing, I'm familiar with the Terminators a lot, so I'll focus on that a little bit. Um, what this really means is that if your opponent leaves one or two Terminators still alive, that their OC value is still there. Like they can't just write them off if they fail to kill a whole squad of Dark Angels. So
Yeah,
pretty good,
you still have to go put something on the objective to take it. You can't just
right?
hope to battle shock them off and like, oh, they don't hold it anymore.
Right. So it's kind of a good to the last drop sort of thing.
Yeah,
Um, all right. So looking over the stratagems here,
yeah,
I think you've got some. There's six stratagems as standard. Some of these are the same as what we saw with the Gladius. So the Armor of Contempt is still there. So Armor of Contempt, 1 CP, shooting or fight phase. Basically, give a Space Marine unit plus one or
-1 AP
gives
to
the
yeah,
yeah minus one AP when they're targeted and shooting or fight. So makes them tough. Definitely good for Dark Angels. Good on the Terminators and all of that. Um, let's see. I think all these other ones are probably Dark Angel specific. So they've got the Unforgiven Fury. So it's 1 CP shooting or fight phase. Select one Space Marine unit until the end of the phase. Um, Models have lethal hits, and then this is where it gets a little weird. So in addition, if one or more Space Marine units are currently battle shocked until the end of the phase, that unit also will score a critical hit on unmodified 5 up. So that means you're going to auto wound in combination with lethal hits. You'll auto wound on a 5 or 6.
yeah. And it's not their unit. If any unit in the army is battle shocked, it gives
Right,
this unit that.
right, and I think as so this is going to be especially effective on later turns because
Yeah,
usually how I think this has been playing out is especially when you're going into turns 3, 4, 5, you're going to start losing units, but if you have durable units, you might very often find that they're battle shocked. So having lethal hits maybe giving this Unforgiven Fury to some Terminators with Thunderhammers, maybe some Dreadnoughts. I think they'll definitely appreciate being able to auto wound. So this kind of reminds me of the old Deathwing trait that they had, which was they used to reroll wounds against monsters, um, and it was only like big targets. So Deathwing in general kind of have a theme of they like to kill big stuff.
yeah.
They're um, So
All right. And then next we got intractable, which is in your movement phase just after your unit fell back. Till the end of the turn, that unit is able to shoot and charge. So basically, another one we saw this in Blood Angels where you lose your combat doctrines, but they give you a strat that gives you access to at least one of them. So this basically makes one of your unit basically like it was in the tactical doctrine.
yep, yep. So that's really similar to what they had in the Gladius.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. It gives you a good amount of versatility. Um, Another stratagem, Fire Discipline. Shooting phase, Space Marine unit that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons in that unit gain the keywords Assault, Heavy, and Ignores Cover. Pretty good. This has a lot of flexibility. You can't benefit from Assault and Heavy at the same time, but just having one or the other is good. You've either got your +1 to hit or your advance and shoot. So pretty flexible.
That was my first thought when you read that. I was like, oh, like you can't unless someone has a rule that makes them no, because if the counters remaining stationary, they would need assault. Yeah, so yeah, that basically
Yeah.
it just gives you the option depending on what you want to do. But you ignore cover either way, which is really the key part of that, I think.
It's pretty good. This might be good on like a Talon Master, maybe give it advance and shoot or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, it has a lot of uses.
Or yeah, if you're running Raven Wing like a big bike squad with the ATV come around the
Right.
corner, shooting into some battle line or something on an objective in a ruin. Like, no, you don't get cover. You're just eating all these shots.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of options for this. Deathwing have a lot of or Dark Angels in general have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Um,
Then we got Grim Retribution. In your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy is shot, one unit from your army that had one or more models destroyed as a result of the attacking unit's attacks. You can shoot as if it were a shooting phase, but must target the unit that just attacked it, and can only do so if that unit is an eligible target. Alright, so they shoot you. They kill at least one of your models. You pop this. You shoot back at the unit that shot you. Useful, depending on what they're shooting, whether or not you have enough shooting going back to be worth the CP, but it's a good thing to have in your bag.
and I think this one doesn't really work. It only triggers if models are destroyed. So I
Yes.
guess it's really only going to be going on infantry. So unfortunately, it's kind of lame to have one of these stratagems that only works on a certain model type. Um, but
Well, it'll work on like bikes and stuff too.
yeah, it'll still work on bikes and Terminators and infantry and all of that. So
Yeah.
I guess it's okay, but not as strong as this other one. So the last one, Unbreakable Line. Uh, so they used to have Unbreakable Line, and now they basically just made it stronger. So when this triggers though is really specific. So Unbreakable Line 1 CP triggers your opponent's charge phase after an enemy unit ends a charge move. So this is basically when they touch you and they get in combat before they fight. You select one of your Space Marine units in engagement range of that unit. Until the end of the turn, your unit is -1 damage.
Yeah.
For all attacks allocated to that unit.
And once again,
So-
until they show us otherwise, what we've seen and the talk is that's going to make you immune to damage one completely.
Yeah, this is really good because I mean, Terminators are already durable. We know that every Terminator is T5 with a 4-up invuln. There's also a bunch of other sort of durable effects that you can use Armor of Contempt on them, and now you can even use Unbreakable Line on them. So this is an extremely strong stratagem. You just have to remember that this only works in combat. You can't -1 from shooting. So yeah, super good. We've also got. You have to consider there's a lot of these Terminators with Storm Shields now that are 4 wounds instead of 3. So it changes the math on everything.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah, because if you're not
really-
hitting them with
really
3
strong.
damage, you got to get 4 wounds through.
Yep. So potentially scaling like a damage 4 down to 3, or scaling a damage 2 down to 1, or I guess a 3 to 2 is probably not as good.
Yeah, it still takes
as-
through to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as good as we would have hoped, but
Hey,
it's okay. They're still feeling no pains. So
Yeah.
uh,
All right, then we
all right.
get the enhancement here. First one is Shroud of Heroes, Space Marine model. First time the bearer is destroyed. Well, 1d6 at the end of the phase. On a 2-up, set the bearer back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed, and not within engagement range of any enemy units, with 3 wounds remaining. If the bearer was battle shocked when it was destroyed, it is instead returned with its full wounds remaining. That's wild.
I don't know why they keep doing this. So yeah, that actually seems really strong.
Yeah.
That's like a super sort of Gilliman ability.
Put that on like that character Dreadnought. Bring a whole Dreadnought back at full wounds.
Oh, can you put it up? Oh, which character Dreadnought?
The Librarian.
Oh, that's a Blood Angel.
Oh, we're in the dark. Yeah, never mind.
I wish.
Too many
That would be
rules for
amazing.
going through this. Never mind. But still, you got some good Blood Angel characters. What about,
Yeah,
well, like Samuel or your Talon Masters? Bring back a Talon Master full of wounds.
I think so. Yeah, these are enhancements. It doesn't say for sure what these go on, but I assume that it's just characters. Like it could go on any non.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's
I believe it is
character.
characters. Yeah,
and not epic heroes, but so any character.
yeah,
Yeah, so maybe Talon Master. It would be really good on a Talon Master for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next one is Stubborn Tenacity. While the bearer is leading a unit, each time a model unit makes an attack, add +1 to the hit roll if the bear's unit is below starting strength, and then add +1 to wound if the bear's unit is battle shocked. Not so good.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of stuff like that, but it's normally the second bonus is from being below half strength, and here it's just battle shocked.
Yeah, because you don't really want your unit to be battle shocked. I don't think this is very good.
Yeah.
Um,
No. And then the next one is the Heavenfall Blade. Adapted to Astartes model only. Add 1 to the attack, strength, and damage characteristics of the bearer's melee weapons. While the bearer is battle shocked, add 2 to the attack, strength, and damage characteristics of the bearer's melee weapon instead. Alright, so +1 attack, strength, and damage to the character. It goes to 2 if he's battle shocked.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
that gets really strong if you're battle shocked, but I don't think you really have a lot of control over being battle shocked or not. So
Yeah, it's just
kinda-
whether the +1's worth it to begin with, depending on how they point it, and then the 2 would just be a bonus if it ever happens. If it's too pointy and it's not worth it for just the 1 attack, you don't do it just hoping you'll be battle shocked at some point.
yeah. All right, and the last one is Pennant of Remembrance. You can put this on a Blade Guard Ancient, Primaris Ancient, or Terminator Ancient only. So this one used to be extremely good. This used to give a whole unit -1 damage, but it no longer does that. Now it's while the Ancient is leading that unit, models in the unit have a 6-up feel no pain. While that unit is battle shocked, models in the unit instead have a 4-up feel no pain. So this is just a regular old feel no pain.
Yeah.
But having, so if you consider that you might have these Terminator units hanging out with this Pennant of Remembrance, they're 4 wounds, so you could have up to 40 wounds plus 2 characters.
Yep.
So maybe, what is that? It's close to 50 wounds in a unit. And then if you just happen to get battle shock because maybe you're playing against Nids and you roll your battle shock, you just get a 4-up feel no pain. So of course this is random and it's matchup dependent, and typically you're only going to roll battle shock when you go below half strength. But
Yeah.
if for some reason they start making you roll battle shocks, like this is just going to get really.
Well, this
really
is going to be
crazy.
one of those times where your opponent's mad you failed the battle shock test. Like against Dark
Yeah.
Angels, I'm a Tyranid player. I don't pop that because you're not
Yeah.
losing your OC. Like, yeah, you don't get strats, but you get a lot of other buffs that just happen. Like, I'm hoping you don't get battle shocked.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like the sort of theme that they went through here is like they want the Dark Angels to kind of grind you down. A lot of these stuff's only going to trigger like when you start taking a lot of damage. So it's
Yeah,
you're playing a dangerous game, which is basically can the opponent not finish me off so like my good abilities can trigger.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
All right, so going into the data sheets, I know I've looked through these already, so because I'm a big Dark Angels fan, we've got 2 of these that are really really good characters that are I believe they're epic heroes. The first one right away here is Azrael. So Azrael, this guy just got a new model. This is an extremely good data sheet. I would take this in every Dark Angel list because he has this ability here, Masterful Tactician. Start of your command phase, if this model's on the battlefield, you gain a CP. So this is the same thing Gilliman has. He just gives you a CP. So super super good. Um, he's got a couple other abilities here. So he's the Supreme Grandmaster. While leading a unit, models in the unit have sustained hits 1, exploding 6s basically. This guy has been, with his new model, he's recently been upgraded to Primaris. He can join 6 different squad types here. So you've got your Assault Intercessors, regular Intercessors, Infernus, Hellblasters, Blade Guard Veterans, nice, and Stern Guard Veterans. So you've got, between your Hellblasters and your Blade Guard and your Stern Guard, you've got a bunch of really good options there. So he actually gives them another ability as well. He's got, so in addition to giving them sustained hits, models in the Bears unit have a 4-up invuln save. So that's the same thing you see on the Primaris Librarian. And then in addition, so this is for the Lion Helm, 4-up invuln save. In addition, once per battle at any time, you can summon the Watcher in the dark. When it does until the end of the phase, models have a 4-up feel no pain against mortal wounds. So the Watcher, that's a big improvement for the Watcher. The Watcher used to just be a once per game deny. Now it's a once per game 4-up against all mortals. So that's a very very strong ability. This guy's a 2-up save, 6 wounds. He's got an anti-infantry devastating wounds weapon, rapid fire 1, strength 8 -3 2 damage, BS2 weapon skill 2. Sword of Secrets, they actually it's funny because it had this profile for a long time, and then they upgraded it to damage 3, and now it's back to damage 2. So this guy, it's still a decent profile though. Sword of Secrets, devastating wounds, 6 attack, weapon skill 2, strength 6 -4 2 damage. So they gave him an extra pip of AP there, which is pretty strong.
Yeah.
So with all these really strong abilities this guy has going for him, definitely going to be an expensive model. He'll probably, I think right now he's around 140 or 150. He'll probably stay around 150. This is a top tier character. So
Yeah, this is the fact that he just gives that 4-up invul to everything. I mean, Blade Guard probably already have it, but you can stick him with anything and give him that invul, and it just makes him more survivable.
right, and he also, I think he can combo on the Blade Guard with another character. Like he could combo with a Primaris Apothecary, I think.
Yeah, there's some character like lieutenants and stuff that can join even with a chapter master, so you could put some of those lieutenants in here. Like,
yeah, pretty good.
then we got Belial. He's I believe he's the master of the Deathwing.
Yep, he's a Deathwing captain.
Yeah, T5, 6 wounds, OC1, mastercrafted bolt pistol, but his has precision, so that's nice. There's a Sword of Silence, which is 6 attacks, 2 hits, strength 6, -2 2 damage. So similar to the other sword, except -2 instead of -4, and no devastating wounds, but he can target characters with it. Then he gets Grandmaster of the Deathwing. While this model is leading a unit, each time the model that unit make an attack, if a critical hit is scored, that attack has the precision ability. So we can pick out characters, but only on critical hits. So, and then Strikes of Retribution. Each time a melee attack is allocated to this model, after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks, roll 1d6 to a maximum of 6 per attacking unit. For each 2+, the attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So if they hit him 6, 10, 12 times, whatever, you roll 6 dice, and you're most likely to win 5 mortals back, just for them hitting him.
Mm-hmm.
So unless they have precision, this is going to be after his squad's dead, but basically makes you not want to precision him, and maybe just kill them at ranged. We've seen a couple characters like that, where you just, like Tycho from the Blood, you don't want to kill them in combat. You need to kill these guys from range. And then he can join the Deathwing Command Squad, the Knights, the regular Deathwing Squad, and the 3 Terminators from the regular book.
Yep. So that's an interesting thing for the Deathwing here, because this guy is specifically like a character sniper. Like he gives everything precision.
Yep.
Kind of interesting, but I don't know how good he actually is. Like we'll find out. But
yeah.
These Terminator sort of characters, like Terminator armor characters, there's 6 different units that are all Terminators now. So I'm kind of surprised that they branch it out so much, because just because just because of these 6 different squad types, you really could play an all Terminator army, easily.
Well, I mean, Deathwing is so they need to have that. So they didn't give any special rules to Deathwing or Ravenwing, but they're giving you the ability to still play it.
Yeah, and I think some of these unit types, because we looked at three of them already. The three that are in here are all a little bit stronger, and the I think the command squad has a lot going for it, but we'll go over that when we get there. Um, so the next one is Samael. So this guy is a mounted epic hero. He's like the character captain of the Ravenwing. Um, so moves 12, 3 up save, T5, 7 wounds. He's got all of his weapons are pretty good. So he's a leader, of course. His weapons are master crafted plasma cannon, D3 shots, hits on 2, strength 8, -3, 2 damage. There's no overcharge profile anymore. Um, he's got twin link stormbolter, rapid fire 2, and that's exactly what you'd expect. It just hits on 2s. And then his Raven Sword. So Raven Sword, 6 attacks, hits on 2s, strength 6, -3, 2 damage, and sustained hits 2. So double explosions. Pretty strong. This is basically the same profile in combat as he was in last edition. So his shooting got a little bit weaker, but his combat got, I would say, significantly better with those explosions and the extra AP, because
Yeah,
his AP basically scaled up because he didn't get reduced at all.
yeah. Because
So that's pretty cool.
yeah, normally sustained hits one, you basically figure however many attacks you have, you'll get that many hits. Sixes and ones equaling out. In this, you have 6 attacks. You can count on 7 hits most of the time. And if you got Oath of the Moment, you're going to probably get at least 8 hits.
Yep, and this guy, he's very good. And this shows a consistent theme with these rules where they're making Ravenwing better in combat. So we'll kind of see that throughout, because Ravenwing have long had a problem of not being good at fighting at all.
Yeah.
So we'll go over that when we get down there. So as for abilities, this guy is a leader. So he joins the Bike Squad, Outrider Squad, Ravenwing Black Knights, and the Ravenwing Command Squad, which is the command biker unit.
Yeah.
Well, this model is leading unit. That unit is eligible to shoot and charge, or advance and shoot and advance and charge.
That's nice.
So yeah, extremely powerful. Um, you could also he's got his other thing is cut off the escape. Probably a little bit more situational. Each time an enemy unit within engagement range is selected to fall back, models in that unit must take a desperate escape test, if their unit was battle shocked, and then if they're battle shocked as well, subtract 1 from the desperate escape. So kind of similar to what we saw with the Blood Angels, where it's a kind of traps you in combat, makes you take casualties if you fall back. Of course, doesn't has that clause again. Doesn't work on monsters and vehicles because the way Desperate Escape works on monsters and vehicles is on a 1 or 2 they just die. So
Yeah.
it might be a little bit too egregious against them. Um, so yeah, so definitely really good combat. I would say really good combat character, aggressive, excellent with your Outrider squad and your Black Knight squad.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. But yeah, I mean, Samuel's normally been good in most editions, so he looks like he's pretty solid again. Then we're down into Ezekiel. So this is the Psyker from the Dark Angels. So T4, 4 wounds, 2 up save, nothing outstanding in that profile, but he's got a pistol to deliver, that's precision. It's 1 attack, strength 4, -1, 2 damage, that's okay. Then he's got Mind Wipe, which is 1 attack, hits on 2, strength 6, -2, D6 damage. But if you, and it's precision, but if you focus it, it becomes anti-character 4 up, devastating wounds, in addition to precision, and then it gets hazardous. So the profile stays the same. You just gain anti-character 4 up and anti-character 4 up is all you gain in hazardous. Other than that, the profile's the same. That's interesting. Then Trader's Bait, anti-chaos 2+, psychic, 4 attacks, 2 up strength 6, -2 D3 damage. So if you're going into non-chaos, that's very generic for a character. There's a psychic hood, so you get the 4 up feel no pain against psychic attacks. And then Engulfing Fear. In your shooting phase, you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches of the model. The enemy unit must take a battle shock test. That's really nice. Anytime you can make
Hmm.
extra battle shock tests. And the War Gear Book of Salvation. While this model is leading a unit, add one of the attack characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models in that unit. And when this model is destroyed, each friendly Adeptus Astartes unit within 6 inches of the model must take a battle shock test. Alright, so you don't want your army near him when he dies, or you'll take battle shock. Not that, or if you're Dark
or
Angels,
it's good.
or try to get near him before he dies, so you can get all those extra rules.
Yeah, this is really interesting how they got this guy going.
Yeah,
So I mean, he hands out the battle shock, and then he gives his unit +1 attack characteristic. Um, but he's firstborn, right? So he can only join the assault squad, command squad, attack squad, and band vets.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know, and I don't know if the play here is you like put him with some like band vets with pistols and you suicide squad him, then he goes in and does his psychic thing because his mind wipe ability is really strong. Because I mean it's gonna devastating wounds against its precision, so
yeah,
it's gonna hit on a 2, and then it's gonna do mortals on a 4 up.
yeah. You basically run him in with your Terminator stuff when you're charging in, hoping he dies and your Terminators fail their battle shock.
Yeah, so it's only range 12, but it's yeah exactly, but it's basically it's roll 2, then roll 4, and then roll d6 mortals against their character.
Yeah,
Well, that seems pretty good because I think you can CP reroll the damage roll, which is really what you're gonna do here.
yeah,
He seems. It's interesting how he's such a good character assassin now because he used to be like this guy. I used to play this guy in every. I played him every single list.
yeah.
He used to be like a support guy, and now he's a character assassin, and he's almost kind of like a missile, you know.
Yeah. The only downside is all the units he can join are not that hard to kill, so he might be hard to deliver.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's any easy way to deliver this guy. I mean,
No.
maybe throw him in a command squad or something, but I'm not sure. There's not a clear. It's not a clear sort of path.
Yeah, I guess you have to have him in a transport or something.
He is a good model though, so I mean, I'm glad that they made him very specifically good at doing something.
Oh yeah, he's always been like Ezekiel's been around. He's been a beast for a while.
Yep, yep. Uh, so next one is Asmodai, so character chaplain. I remember this guy. He was specifically really bad in the last edition. Um, so he still got his Crozius. He's got extra attacks on the Blade of Reason. So this is interesting. So three attacks, hits on 2s, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1, but precision and wounds characters on a 2. Um, I don't know how good that is because it's just still AP 0. Probably not fantastic.
No.
Um, and then he's got 2 abilities here. So while he's leading a unit, um, and they make a melee attack, you can reroll hit rolls. So full reroll hit rolls in combat. That's good. Um, at the start, Feared Interrogator. At the start of the fight phase, each enemy character within 6 must make a battle shock test and subtract 1 from the test. That's pretty scary. In
Yeah.
addition, when this guy destroys an enemy character model, you gain a CP. Uh, so once again, I mean, this guy, his abilities are okay. His combat's not great, and then unfortunately, this guy has the same
Yeah.
squad limitations as Ezekiel.
That's to say, yeah, we've got a
I
couple characters, yeah, with nice rules but bad bodyguards.
Yeah, this guy, if this guy's supposed to be a character killer or a character interrogator or whatever you want to call it, like he's definitely not as good as Ezekiel. So
No.
I don't think this guy's really going to see any play.
Unless he's a lot cheaper or something, then maybe. But yeah, none of these units
Yeah,
you're worried about getting into combat for real. Like, yeah, I don't
yeah, and
think you.
it's sad that this guy's a chaplain too, but he doesn't really. He doesn't buff up your leadership at all because like Dark Angels have that weird thing where they want to fail. They want to fail the leadership.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and he's
not
more
as.
he's hunting for the fallen more than trying to lead his guys. Like their chaplains are
Oh,
more
okay.
secretive. They're like all like.
Oh yeah, like interrogator chaplain. Yeah.
Yeah. And then next up we got the Ravenwing Talon Master, 16-inch move. That's nice. 6 wounds, 3-up save, OC2, twin assault cannon, twin heavy bolter, power weapon, all pretty much standard. Then we got a Talon Master. Well, this model is within 3 inches of one or more other friendly Adeptus Astartes mounted or Adeptus Astartes fly vehicle units. This model has the lone operative ability. So you got to get him near other stuff to get him protected. Then he has nowhere to hide. While a friendly Adeptus Astartes mounted or Adeptus Astartes fly vehicles within 6, this model, their ranged weapons get ignore cover. And then he's got a third rule, Master of a Maneuver. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 inches of this model, if he's not in engagement range of one or more enemy units, he can make a normal move of up to 6 inches. So if somebody comes up to try to charge him, just run away. And then he's got a 5-up invul. And then he's a single model, doesn't look like he can join anything, so he's just out by himself.
Yep.
Yeah, he
Yep.
seems
So
fine.
I played Town Master a lot. There's two interesting things here that I think they might have messed up. So he has the leader keyword, but he can't join any units. So I think it's probably a type. It's probably a typo that he has the leader keyword.
No, they do that. They do that on the ones that don't get lone operative built in. They give them leader, and then they give you a thing that triggers their lone operative. I think I've seen that other places.
Okay. So another thing that's interesting here is that that Town Master ability that gives him lone operative, that would actually trigger if you take two Town Masters and put them next to each other. They'll actually protect themselves because it doesn't specify non characters.
Yeah.
So and then I believe lone operative is if you're not within 12, you can't be shot.
Correct.
So this guy doesn't have an outrageous amount of range, but I mean, if you take, let's say you took two of these, I own two of them, so I mean it's pretty reasonable. Maybe you got your twin linked assault cannon and your twin linked heavy bolter that can put out a real good amount of damage, I think.
Yeah, we'll see if the FAQ or designer's commentary that, because that used to be that way. Like character dreadnoughts could block each other, and then they took that away, saying that the character keyword basically disqualifies that. So I have a feeling that might happen, but unless they drop it in the first designer commentary FAQ early, it will play that way at first.
Yeah, it's definitely it feels bad, but I like this guy a lot. I mean, it's such a cool model, really cool actually. So next one is Lazarus. He's kind of like he's a character captain. So this guy specifically doesn't like Psychers, so he's basically a Primaris captain. His melee weapon, Enmity's Edge, anti-Psyker 2 wounds on a 2 up. So probably really good against demons, really good against Grey Knights, Thousand Suns.
Yep. Eldar.
Yeah. 6 attacks, weapon skill 2, strength 6, -3, 2 damage. So pretty average.
Yeah.
He's got 2 abilities here: Intractable Will while he's leading a unit, 4-up fight on death in combat. Oh. So similar thing that we've seen already. The Spirit Shield Helm. This model has a 3-up field of pain against psychic attacks and mortal wounds.
Oh, just him.
It's just him though. Yeah, this used to be a 5-up against mortals in a 6-inch aura. So they scaled this back quite a bit.
Gotcha. I saw that at first, and I thought unit. I was like, that's actually nice, but just on him, that's not nearly as nice.
Yeah, and he joins kind of like what you'd expect: assault intercessors, blade guard, furnace, stern guard. This guy's good, but he's very very anti-psyker specific. So yeah, I think it's just meta. I think this guy actually has the potential to be ridiculous if we're in a psyker heavy meta. So this is completely meta dependent how good this guy is.
Although that 4-up against never mind. That's on the 3-up's only on him. We just said that. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then next we got the Deathwing Strike Master, T5, 5 wounds, 2-up Terminator save, OC1. Got the Mace of Absolution, 5 attacks, strength 6, -1, 3 damage. That's the only thing I see that's not a normal marine weapon. Then he's got a Tactical Precision. While he's leading a unit, the models have lethal hits on look like ranged and melee. And then he has Vanquish the Foe. Each time this model makes an attack that targets an enemy unit below half strength, add 1 to the hit roll and 1 to the rune roll. And then Storm Shield gives him an extra 6-up, and he's got a 4-up. Okay, doesn't seem to jump out to me. What about you?
He's okay. I think we need to see points on this guy because this guy used to be really bad, but now he attaches to these squads in addition to a captain, I think. So
yep.
he and then he makes the Terminators really good at fighting kind of like big things or things that are hard to kill, the lethal hits and the below half strength. So
Yeah.
definitely probably will be good against like knights and things like that.
Okay.
Um, I expect a lot. I mean, this is of course a combat character. These Terminators, for the most part, are all combat characters. So I think that this guy's fine as long as his points are correct. Because this guy's probably worth. I mean, he's got 5 or 6 wounds. He's probably worth the same points as 2 Terminators. So he should be around 70 points or something. And I think he's reasonable. He's reasonable to include.
All right.
Um, So the next one, so this is a data sheet I really like a lot because of how flexible it is. I think this is a really strong data sheet. Deathwing Command Squad. So what they did with this one is they took they took the Deathwing Command Squad box, which actually builds 3 different units, and then they actually made it 3 different units instead of just two. Because previously that box only built the Deathwing Knights and the Deathwing Terminators. Now it actually builds the Command Squad. So specifically, what you get is you can it's 5 to 10 models, and these are all Terminators. So this is like your specialty Terminator squad. So you got your ancient, your apothecary, and your champion that are forced to be into that squad with a certain amount of war gear. So it basically forces you to take the chain fist, stormbolter, and the halberd. The halberd is basically kind of like it's just a power weapon with damage 2 that's precision, 5 attack. So it's character fighting weapon. So the apothecary Terminator returns the model to the unit. That's great because we
Yep.
know that these guys are really hard to kill,
Oh yeah.
and uh yeah, and they're only OC1, but the banner is the next one that makes the whole unit OC2.
Nice.
So you're returning, as long as the banner and the apothecary are alive, you're returning these models back in, which are essentially battle line Terminators. I think that this is really really strong. Um, and then the last one is the guy, what's he called?
Champion.
The Yeah, the champion has a precision weapon with an extra attack, um, and this ability is add +1 to advance and charge. That's really good. And you can heroic intervene them for 0 CP. So it's movement tricks and it makes them faster. So basically, and then if you consider this, the apothecary also makes them faster, and the banner makes them better at controlling objectives. So
Yeah.
the synergy between these 3 models is excellent. This is really strong. You could use these abilities basically every turn as long as they're alive. So this is kind of like the quintessential unit, good to the last drop. So this gets even better though because it has an ability here for the attached unit. Um, if a character unit from your army could be attached to a regular Terminator squad, it can be attached to this squad instead. So basically, what that means is all of those units we talked about yesterday with the regular Space Marines, all those Terminator characters like the Terminator Captain, the Terminator Librarian, and the Chaplain, and so on, they can actually join up with this squad to make basically make a big Death Star unit if you wanted
Yep.
to. Additionally, when you look at their war gear, these guys have the full complement of Deathwing war gear. So one of the things with Deathwing Terminators that's different than regular Space Marine Terminators is that you can have them as a hybrid shooting and combat squad. So you can basically take as many for these 2 to 7 command Terminators. You can have as many storm shields as you want, up to 7, or you could have as many. You could have up to 1 heavy weapon. So you got your plasma cannon, your cyclone, at 1 or 2 of those, and then you can have storm bolters, power fist, chain fist, or lightning claws. So your options are you've got every option. You've got all the good abilities. This is as good as it gets, I think, for Deathwing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely really solid. Like anytime you can bring back a Terminator, especially a Deathwing Terminator, that's huge.
Yep, and I like that this resurrection ability is so this you can actually take 3 of these units, right? So this is kitted. This used to be specific to a character doing this, and you could only do one per turn, and you have to pay 100 points. Well, now you're not really paying any extra points, and you could just bring it back as long as you have the squad still alive.
Yeah.
So this is a really strong recursion mechanic for really really tough models. Pretty strong.
Nice. All right. Then we have the just the regular Deathwing Terminator squad, uh, regular Terminator stat line, uh, regular Terminator weapons, and then just Deathwing. They basically have the same rule as regular Terminators. Just they don't take modifiers for ballistic or weapon skill, or they can ignore any or all. So they can choose to ignore negatives and keep positives. And they get +1 to hit against Oath of the Moment target. Uh, so, other than getting the Deathwing keyword, is there anything I'm missing here that makes them different than Terminators in any other way?
Just the war gear. They have they could choose to have like a lot of shooting or a lot of combat. Like they can have storm shields in there.
Oh, they can make like, oh, and they can take a plasma cannon. I don't think regular Terminators can take that. Gotcha. They could mix Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields in with the squad.
Yeah. Yep.
So stats,
Yeah. So
weapons,
you can mix
rules
and
are
match.
all the same. War gear, the way they can mix and match the war gear is what makes them special.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right.
And I think. Oh yeah, and these can all of these Terminator units can have a Watcher in the Dark. So that we talked about that earlier. The Watcher in the Dark is once per game, 4-up field up hitting against mortals.
Ah,
So that's it's really powerful that they have that because um, it, it that's the weakness of these models because if you take these 3-4 wound models and they just get blown out by devastating wounds or mortal wounds, like they just get picked up and you can't come back. You
yeah.
can't come back from that.
Nope.
So the Watcher is the Watcher is really kind of clutch, and I expect you'll always see a Watcher on these units.
Yeah, depending on his
Um,
points, but yeah, if it's not like 30 points, then
yeah.
all right.
So the next one is Deathwing Knights.
Uh huh.
So Deathwing Knights are basically the elite version of the Terminator. So this is still a Terminator unit, amazingly, but these are the ones that have to have storm shields, and then they have a special weapon. They don't have thunder hammers, but they have a special weapon called the Mace of Absolution, and then the sergeant has a flail. So these these have always been about 30% more expensive per model than regular Terminators. It's questionable how good these guys are. If we look at how they're different, their stat line is basically the same. They automatically have the +1 wound, so they're 4 wounds each, just because that storm shield is baked into their profile. Um, their standard weapon is 4 attacks instead of 3, and then it's weapon skill 2 instead of 4 that you would see on the Thunder Hammers. So they're connecting. They're going to connect a lot of their attacks. Strength 6 -8, only AP -1, and then 3 damage. So I think they reduced the AP on this maybe, and then they bumped the damage up to a 3. I'm not so sure how Strength 6 is, or how good Strength 6 would be against vehicles and monsters and things like that. Probably not so great wounding on 5s. The flail has an extra. The flail on the sergeant has an extra AP with devastating wounds and sustained hits, so that's better. But I'm not. Given that this is such an elite unit, like we're right now, I think these are 43 points per model. Probably going to be around that spot anyway. I'm not sure how good AP1 is. However, you're not really taking these guys for their combat. You're taking them because they have this inner circle ability. So the only ability this have is called inner circle. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, or to a model in this unit, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic. So this is the same as what we've seen with the Redemptor Dread and the Storm Raven and all of that. Um, so, and of course 4-up invuln save, T5, 2-up save. Right now, it seems like this inner circle ability stacks with the bulwark, or the what's it called, stalwart, or it's the unbreakable line is what it's called. So technically it stacks with the unbreakable line, meaning that you could give this unit -2 damage. Um, so it remains to be seen how good this actually is. I mean, I think the whole concept behind these guys is they're just going to be ridiculously durable. Um, keep in mind that the unbreakable line is combat only, so technically they couldn't be -2 damage in shooting, but still being at -1 from shooting all the time, or -1 damage characteristic from shooting all the time seems pretty crazy. So I'm sure that these guys will probably see some play, but their damage output probably is a little bit lacking, I would say.
Well, we kind of got to treat them like we treated the big Terminator bricks in Deathwing this edition. Play the objective around them and just let them be what they're going to be because they're not shooting you.
Right, right. And when you compare these to the command squad, these guys don't have any of the they don't have any of the movement resurrection tricks. They don't have the OC tricks. We know that these models are more expensive, so they're definitely like kind of paying a premium just for being as tough as they are. So in general, I mean, that's a typical 40K thing, I guess. When you have stuff that's too tough to kill, you just don't try to kill it.
Yeah.
So I think that might apply to these guys as well.
And if you can kill them when they're dead, they're dead. You can't bring them back like you can with the command squad.
Correct, correct. Yeah. So when these guys die, they're actually dead.
Yeah.
Um, they they still can have the characters attached to them though, because
Yeah.
they're essentially Terminators for all intents and
Yeah.
purposes.
They're just more elite Terminators.
Yeah. So it'd be the captain, the chaplain, or the librarian, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still not going to bring them back from the dead. So
Yeah. All right. Then we got the Ravenwing Command Squad. Uh, Standard bike stat line. Uh, they can take the Plasma Talon, which is pretty much Dark Angel specific gun. It's basically 18-inch plasma. So it's 18 inches. Other than that, it's your standard plasma profile. You can supercharge it, get hazardous. So, and then they get the Black Knight combat weapon, which is 3 attacks, strength 5, neg 2, 1 damage. And then just a master crafted power weapon, strength 5, neg 2, 2 damage at 6 attacks. So that's probably your sergeant. That's a decent amount of attacks.
yeah, that's
And
really good. That's on the champion.
yeah. And the champion, right? This isn't a regular squad. This is a command squad. So then they get a chaplain, so you can bring back a bike. That the banner for
Yeah.
+1 OC, which makes them OC3.
OC3, really good.
And
This
while
is
this
really
unit
strong.
contains a company champion, add one to advance and charge rolls made for this unit, and you can target with heroic intervention for 0 CP. That's not bad.
Yeah. Something. This is kind of like what we expected. It's got the same. Surprisingly, the champion. Yeah, the champion, the apothecary, and the banner do the same thing as the Deathwing unit, which is not really what I expected, but also it makes it really easy to remember what it does.
Yep.
Because it's the same for the bike and the Terminator. Plus, it's just a good ability. So I guess they found a good ability and then they just copy pasted it. So I can't really complain about that.
Yep.
Something I like here is that they actually scaled up the AP on the Black Knight combi weapon. So it used to be AP1 and now it's AP2.
Oh, the combat weapon, yep.
Yeah, and this is one of the only things I think we've seen where they actually increase the AP on something.
Yep.
So I really, really like that.
Well, I think it used to be, was it neg 1 2 damage, the Corvus Hammer, or was it neg 1 1 damage?
It was strength 5, neg 1, 2 damage.
2 damage, right? So they basically swapped the damage in AP. So you get
Right.
through more, but you'll do less damage when you do. So overall, that actually makes it less lethal, I believe.
I usually prefer to have extra AP, but I don't know. It depends. It depends on what your target is.
Yeah.
So I guess this is getting into the Ravenwing. We're done with Deathwing, so getting into the Ravenwing stuff. Something they did here with Ravenwing across the board is we used to have, this is a really big buff. So we used to have the Jink save. The Jink is gone. So across the board for Ravenwing, they just gave them all a 5-up invuln save. So Ravenwing now actually just have an invuln when they get into combat. So it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, just an invul all the time for them is really solid.
Yep. And then there's another cool thing with these guys. So this caps out at 6 models, just like so these squads used to get larger. Like this Black Knight squad used to go up to 9. I think it capped at 9 models. So these bike squads for Ravenwing cap at 6 models now, which is it's reasonable because 6 keeps you at the ideal formation size for coherency. So it's nice that they've done that. And then you also have the attachment rule down here. So basically, if any character with leader ability can be attached to an Outrider squad, it can be attached to this unit instead. So that means your your chaplain on bike is eligible to hang out with these guys. And I think the chaplain on bike gives them the storm of fire and +1 to wound in combat. So that stacks really nicely with everything these guys have going on. Because this unit has the 5-up invuln and the Black Knights have a 5-up invuln, but the Outriders don't. So these guys definitely have some good advantages here.
Gotcha.
The next unit is the Black Knights. So these guys are the same, basically same attacks that we just talked about. The Plasma Talon. Plasma Talon's range 18, so 2 attacks, hits on 3s, strength 7 -2, 1 damage, rapid fire 1, so 3 attacks at 9 inches. So the Black Knights are the same as the command, but they have an extra ability. So these guys are Knights of Caliban. This is pretty strong. This is actually a fighting ability, which these guys have never had before. So each time this unit is selected to fight, if they made a charge move until the end of the phase, melee weapons in this unit have anti-monster 4-up and anti-vehicle 4-up. So this is I'm super happy that they put anti-monster in here because we have not seen a lot of anti-monster, especially in Space Marines.
Yep.
And here it is. So they made these guys, instead of, these used to be kind of like your super fast shoot and scoot unit, but they actually want these guys to shoot and fight now. So they finally made it. Like I bought these models last year, and I've never got the chance to play them, and I'm happy that they're doing a lot more on the table now. So super interesting.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I always liked the Black Knights. And then once again,
Yep.
6-man squad character that can join Outriders. All right, now we're getting down into
Yeah.
some of the really unique stuff. We got the Ravenwing Dark Shroud, uh, move 14, T8, 10 wounds, 3-up save, leadership 6, OC3, uh, standard weapons. But Icon of Old Caliban and his aura. While a friendly adept is a starting unit is within 6 inches of model, models in that unit have the stealth ability, and each time a ranged attack target that unit, the unit has a benefit of cover. So basically, anybody within 6 of him is -1 to hit and gets cover.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's solid.
Uh,
Like his output isn't great, but if he's pointed cheap enough, just putting him in the middle of your stuff to make everything else more survivable is definitely worth it.
yeah, and that aura is equivalent to like that's the same effect that a smoke stratagem gives you.
Yep.
So he gives you an auto. Basically, he's in a smoke cloud for everything 6 inches around him. So that's actually pretty good.
Yep.
Um, the next one is the Ravenwing Landspeeder Vengeance. So this is the one with the plasma battery. I think they changed this a little bit. So it's twin link plasma storm battery, D6 plus 1 shots, ballistic skill 3, strength 8 minus 2 2 damage, or then supercharge for strength 9 minus 3 3 damage. So everything scales up. Pretty nice profile. Once again, the hazardous is kind of risky, but you'll still only roll it once. So you're only going to take the 3 mortals if you roll 1 on 1d6. So that's nice. This guy, move 14, T8, 10 wounds, 3-up save. He's got the Storm of Vengeance, which is, I think we already saw this. This is the shoot back.
Oh, if they.
Oh no, this is different. This actually triggers when something's destroyed.
Yeah.
So once per turn in your opponent's shooting phase, when a Space Marine unit is destroyed within 6, you can use this. After they finish shooting, you can shoot it through their shooting phase, but you can only target that thing. So
Yeah, so it's similar to the other one, but it's when a unit near him's destroyed instead of his unit losing a model.
yeah, the other one actually just triggered when they shoot. So this one requires something to be destroyed.
Well, no, the other one I think the unit had to have lost a model to the shooting.
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah. Well, anyway, I mean,
Because that's why
okay.
that's why we're saying it couldn't go on vehicles and stuff because they had to lose a model.
Yeah. Oh, and this actually requires the entire unit to be destroyed.
Yeah, yeah. This one's the entire unit. The other one was just a model.
Yeah. So this is not as good as that other rule. This guy, I don't know. This guy's probably not so good, unless they make. I think they might make him really cheap though, because
I mean,
right now this guy.
yeah, depending on the points, that plasma battery has a good profile just on itself, even without the special rule.
Yeah, and this guy's pointed at 100 points right now. So I think if they keep him around 100 points, he's definitely playable.
Oh yeah, plasma battery with the assault cannon. Yeah, I'd bring that.
Yeah. Yeah, because the plasma battery actually does good damage. It's just
Oh
a
yeah,
really random number of shots.
and
That's
it's
all.
blast, so it'd be real good in some games.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
we
Good. Good. Ravenwing will want those incursors in there. I think the incursors for the +1 to hit. So.
Yep. And then we got, well, every Marine wants the incursors in there.
Yeah.
Then we got the Dark Talon. It's got a Hurricane Bolter, and it's got the Rift Cannon, which is 18-inch range, D3 +1, hits on 3, strength 16, neg 4, 3 damage. Devastating wounds and blast. That's solid.
Yep.
And then he's got the Stasis Bomb. Once per battle, after this model ends a normal move, you can select one enemy unit, excluding aircraft, and moved over this phase. The unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and you must roll a 6. On a 1 to 3, that unit cannot advance or fall back in your opponent's next movement phase. On a 4 to a 6, that unit must remain stationary in your opponent's movement phase. That's wild.
This is funny. This is funny because you can. I don't know. You could trap something in combat.
Oh yeah, well you auto do mortals, and if someone moved in a unit that they were trying to get in range to charge you or something, you drop this on them and you roll a 4 up. They can't even move the next turn.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, and your opponent's next. Well, yeah. But this is an auto. This automatically means that if it's something in combat, they can't fall back.
Right.
Like because a 1 to 3 and a 4 to 6, they can't fall back.
Yeah. Yeah, because this isn't
So
a
that's
shooting attack, so it doesn't say you can't target units in combat.
yeah. Just select the unit. It's not even an attack.
Nope.
Yeah, this is pretty good. I think you can do this on a character too. It used to be that people would use this to blow up characters because like you could play three of these things.
Yeah.
I like how many so this thing has a lot of shots coming out of that hurricane bolter.
Oh yeah.
Um, so there's a decent combo here. I think that stratagem that what is it that stratagem that was at the beginning? It's Grim, no, not Grim Retribution.
I don't remember.
Oh, you can give it ignores cover. That's it. It's for Unforgiven Fury. Lethal hits. So you give it lethal hits, and then if anything's battle shocked, it lethal hits on a 5. It critical hits on a 5.
Oh, that's nice.
So that you can have 24 shots that'll auto wound on 5s from
That's
the
not bad.
hurricane bolter.
Yeah, because with strength 4, that auto wound is nice.
Yeah. So you can spit out that in combination with the stasis bomb. Maybe you could basically show up next to a character and blow them up. Maybe that'll be good against. Actually, yeah, this sort of model is really good at like a monster monster hunting because you've got your, you got your like Lionel Johnson and your Gilliman and stuff like that. So this guy could just show up next to them and start blasting them and then make them stationary. So really, I feel like making if you play against a Gilliman or something, like making them stationary really buys you a lot of time. So.
Well, confirmed. Nix plays Chaos Dark Angels because he was just talking about shooting Lionel Johnson with him.
Oh, we'll see. Well, he's right here, so we'll see him. I think we're gonna see a lot of Lionel Johnson.
Yeah.
It's just important to me that the real Lionel Johnson wins the the Duel of Fates or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dark Talon, pretty cool.
Yeah.
The next one is the Jet Fighter. So this is the other Dark Angel aircraft. This is basically the one that's kitted out to kill other aircraft. So you've got your Mega Bolter, which is like a triple heavy bolter. Strength 5 -1, 2 damage. You got Black Sword missiles, which is basically just a crack missile, but it's 2 shots, anti-fly, 2 up. So that's pretty good. That's really good against demons. You're winning like a Bloodthirster on 2s. Seems really good.
Oh yeah, it's anti-fly, not anti-aircraft. Yep.
Oh man, this is a really good profile. Oh, and then he's got the two crack missiles and 2 las cannons.
He comes with both.
Yeah. So he's just got 2 regular old las cannons, and then
Yeah, basically he swaps the bolter for the las cannons.
oh yeah okay so so either
So he can have the missiles and the las cannons, and then yeah, he's really good at hunting big stuff.
yeah, and then he also has another twin linked bolter as well.
Yeah, twin heavy bolter. Yep.
So pretty good. I guess you'd probably want to take him with the las cannons, but they're both good options.
Well, it does depend. Are you using him to hunt big stuff, or are you using him to go kill little stuff? If you use him to go kill little stuff, you use the heavy bolter and the mega bolter and the black swords or whatever. If you want him to hunt big stuff, then you go with the black sword and the las cannons, and then the heavy bolters, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives him some versatility depending on what role you need him to fill in your list.
Yep, and he's got lightning fast maneuvers. So This is the old aircraft word. So I think this is good because if he goes into hover mode, you can deploy this guy in hover mode. He'll lose the aircraft keyword, but then because of lightning fast maneuvers, he'll still have the -1 to hit.
That's nice.
So yeah, he's always -1 to hit, and then if the model that shoots him is a flyer, it's -1 to wound as well. So that's
nice.
Pretty good.
Yep.
Huh. Interesting.
All right.
So yeah, this guy's probably really good against demons. I would say.
Yep.
He's a demon slayer.
All right. Next we got Lionel Johnson, and he's the last one. You wanna go through him, or you want me to do it?
Oh yeah, I got him. So this guy is super strong. This is this is your Gilliman equivalent that just happens to be better than Gilliman. Um, so movement 8 T9. So he's dreadnought. He's dreadnought level toughness. 2 up save, 10 wounds. 10 wounds seems like a lot. Leadership 5, OC 4. So really amazing stat line. He's got a bolt pistol, plasma pistol. It's got 2 different profiles here. He hits on 2s across the board. His weapon has 2 profiles. His sword fealty. So strike, and sweep. The strong profile is lethal hits. 8 attacks, weapon skill 2, strength 12, -4 damage. So this is basically an improved. He hits harder. He hits with 1 more AP and 1 more damage than a dreadnought, and he has lethal hits. So really, really good. The sweep is double attack, 16 attacks with sustained hits, exploding 6s. Strength 6 -3, 2 damage. So still -3 even on the sweep seems really strong actually.
Yeah.
This guy's gonna shred Marines. I mean, I don't know if you'd ever encounter a squad of like 16 to 20 Marines. I don't think that's even a thing, but if that was a thing, they'd all be dead, right?
Said the chaos player.
So then his abilities, it just so happens that all of his other abilities are also just ridiculously strong. So he's got deep strike, he's got fights first. I actually think that having fights first on a character like this might be a little bit too strong, just because of how hard he hits. He's got, and he has lone operative. He gains lone operative when he's near infantry, and he's not a leader. So he's of course he's a monster, so he doesn't join any units, being a monster. So lone operative, the Emperor Shield. So this got a huge glow up because the Emperor Shield used to be 4-up invuln. That was it. So now basically what the Emperor Shield gives him now is anytime an attack targets him, -1 to wound, shooting and ranged, and then for melee attacks, for each melee attack allocated to him, if he rolls a 6 to save, he gives them a mortal wound, and there's no cap on that. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
He also just has. I think this is the first time we've seen this. He just has a flat 3-up invuln on his card.
Oh wow.
So
yeah, that's solid.
I'm not sure why they decided to put this back in the game, because I thought people thought it was too good, but I don't know. Here it is. So I guess it's the time of the lion. He's also got, the last thing he has is the Primarch abilities. So in your command phase, you pick one of the Primarch abilities. They're all auras basically. So one of them is all Space Marine units within 6 have a 4-up field of pain against mortals. So that's basically it's a Watcher in the Dark aura for everything. The second one is Martial Exemplar. Any Space Marine unit within 6 makes a melee attack. You add +1 to hit. Pretty good.
Yep.
And then the last one is really janky. So it's all secrets revealed. Once per turn, when your opponent targets a unit from their army with a stratagem, before the effects are resolved, if you're within 12 of the lion, you gain a CP, and then that unit takes a battle shock test. If they fail the battle shock test, they become battle shocked, and the stratagem doesn't go into effect, but still counts as having been used.
That's wild.
So the way this is worded, this is one of the best wordings I've ever seen on one of these Primarch abilities, because this basically does everything that's good for you and nothing that's bad for them, and it's just kind of ridiculous, because you gain a, this could also trigger on your turn or their turn because of how stratagems work. So you use, for example, you activate this Primarch ability on your turn.
Yep.
They overwatch you, or they heroic you, or something like that. When they do that reaction, they have to roll a battle shock. There's typically like around, in general, it's like maybe a 33% chance of failing a battle shock for most typical units. So there's a 1/3 chance that they give you a free CP, and they wasted their CP, and what they wanted it to do doesn't happen.
And they can't do it again with the unit. Yep.
Correct. So it's like, this is like it's basically like 4 good things happening if they fail a battle shock test. Oh yeah, and their unit gets battle shocked as well. Yeah. It's not just a leadership test; it's an actual battle shock test.
Yeah, that's wild.
So I don't know why they worded this so strong. Like, this just seems this seems like when this actually goes off, which it probably will, it'll be a feels bad because this seems a little bit too strong.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's how they wrote the rules now, and that's Lion. So the Lion went from being a model that everybody complained about to probably the strongest individual model that we've ever seen. So,
Yep. Well, hopefully he's
so that
500 points.
he could be. I mean,
You'd
with those
still
sort of
take him.
rules,
Yep.
he could be 400 points. Yeah.
All right. Well, Dark Angels looking pretty good. They got some solid stuff in there. And it looks like you could run a pure Ravenwing or pure Deathwing and still build a pretty solid list.
Yeah, they did a really good job on this one. I think the way that I'm going to look at running this is actually still going to be going off Gladius, because I like the Gladius doctrines more than I like the Dark Angel specific stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the play for me is I'm just probably going to slam all the Dark Angels into Gladius and just
Yeah,
go
those
with that
combat
route. But
doctrines are so nice.
right, it's more flexible than what you have with this. But
Yep.
this kind of the Dark Angel specific ones leans like we explained, it's leaning on Battle Shock more, failing Battle Shock, and kind of grinding more grindy, and whereas the Gladius is more aggressive. So
Yep.
I would say this is more defensive, whereas the Gladius is like more aggressive. So
Yep. All right. Well, that's it for the Dark Angels.
yep,
We
yep.
will catch you guys next time.